Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Knucklehead Podcast. I'm your co-host, Quan, with my partner in crime,
Malcolm.
Today, we have a very special guest. I met this young lady a couple of weeks back, went to a golf event. I mean, her energy was through the roof. Connected with her, loved her story, did some research, found out so much more. So I'm so happy that she finally made an appearance here on our podcast. It's going to be a great episode. Without further ado, I'm going to go into some of her credentials first. It's something to be acknowledged seriously. So she has her own media company. If I'm not mistaken, it's MHDS, correct?
Yes.
MHDS Media. She also is a renowned book author with her book, G3, The Playbook. Am I correct? And that involves grit, grief, and glow up. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Donielle Young.
Hi, thank you so much. So happy to be here with both of you today.
You as well. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Awesome. So, we finally got you on the podcast.
Yes.
I'm very excited. So, first and foremost, congratulations on the media company. Now, let's talk a little bit about this book you mentioned about you have coming out.
Yes, so I have the G3 Playbook, and I was often getting asked, how do you do what you do?
Yes.
And so I said I wanted to put some practices in place for the playbook to give other people kind of like a guideline as to what grief looks like, how to move through the grit and get to the glow up phase.
Yes.
So I created that playbook for everyone to see and kind of manage through and work through.
Okay. And being an entrepreneur that you are now, were you always an entrepreneur? How did you start out? What did that look like?
I definitely wasn't always an entrepreneur, and I didn't know that this was in the cards for me. I actually did business-to-business sales for a decade, and before I became an entrepreneur, I was in corporate finance for almost a decade. So I worked with entrepreneurs, I worked with business owners, and I said never, because I understand the struggle.
Yeah.
But when you've been called,
Yes.
and you have to answer the call. And so 3 years ago, almost to the date, I lost my husband to stage 4 colon cancer while I was in corporate finance. And so when he had passed away and I went back to work, make a long story short, it was kind of, I was this big fish in a little pond for a long time. And I knew that. He knew that as well. But I never knew what I was going to do. And so I always told my clients, I said, listen, if I had something that I felt really passionate about, then I'll go both feet in. And so when he passed away, I went back to work for about a year or so. And then I decided, this is not it. And so I found out what it wasn't, and I resigned before I knew what I wanted to do, actually. So I said I was just going to take a 1-year sabbatical, and 4 months in, it kind of became clear that I needed to start a storytelling platform for other women that are grieving and helping them to redefine loss and live.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you flowers, because to go through something like that, especially with all those different factors, I mean, it takes a lot of courage, to say at least. And to your point, you didn't have it all figured out, right? And the thing, what we emphasize on this platform is that most of the stories with these 1%ers like yourself, they go through that moment where they have to step on faith, right? It's not clear, but they know that they're being called for something bigger and greater. So I commend you on that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So, in kind of talking a little bit about, I've heard this nickname thrown around, the Grief Disruptor. So,
do you love it?
I love the name.
Do you love the name?
Really do.
What did it do for you when you heard the name? That's what I need to know.
Before meeting you, I would have been like, what is that?
Yeah.
But after meeting you, it just makes so much sense. I mean, just like you rebrand companies, you rebrand mission statements, things of that nature. Why can't you rebrand what it means to experience grief and get through it, right? For the most part, everyone has experienced loss.
Yeah.
And to see you rebrand it in such a way that gives it life and gives it empowerment, that's commendable, because, I've lost people, and I may not have necessarily known all the stages of grief, but to have someone have this amazing energy you did, like when I first met you, and then for you to carry that and transcend that and teach others how to process their emotions, I mean, it's definitely needed and not spoken on enough.
Absolutely. And I'm very passionate about it. So I self-proclaim myself the Grief Disruptor, but the real reason is because I wanted to disrupt the narrative on what it was to have grief.
Yes.
And I think the best person is the person that lost her significant other. My late husband, who I was married to for 16 years.
Wow.
And who I say we didn't have, how people say it was a happy marriage. I don't think anyone has a happy marriage.
Yeah.
It was a healthy marriage.
Yes.
And so I was fortunate enough to experience love and know what deep unconditional love was, right? And so I felt that I was in the position to be able to say, listen, I have experienced grief. I've experienced a lot of trauma in the caregiving part of taking care of him. And I've also experienced, obviously, becoming a widow and what all that means. And so being the grief disruptor means that I want to change what the landscape is. Because grief, when you think about it, most people think about either over spiritualized, I prayed about it and I'm good, or they're thinking deep, dark, and despair, right? And so there is a middle, and you can be still living and have grief, and joy and grief can coexist together. And so that's really the message that I want to get out there. And I really want to start a movement and change and be the face of it. So that's the name that I came up with.
Yeah, I love it though. I mean, I've seen it on so many different social handles. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'll ask you this. So when it comes to grieving, what is that key component to help individuals heal from?
I love that question. You know why?
Why?
You don't heal from grief. Grief will forever be a part of my life. And if you think about, even if you haven't lost a significant other, you think about your parents or auntie or uncle or grandma or someone you were really close to. Do you ever stop grieving them? You know, grief is a labor of love, right? So for so long as I will forever love them, I will have grief, right? So I think changing the narrative on healing from grief versus living with grief and building a life around grief. That's kind of where I put the focus on.
Got you. So where do you find that median or that happiness within those moments? Because, and I ask only because I have it where my mother, she lost her mother and sister within like a year or 2 year span.
That's tough.
So I'm always on go. I'm going to take it, but I see it in her.
Yeah.
I see the moments where she's like this. So how do you find that happiness or that smile that you carry and that energy from someone like to me as a son to her? What does that look like?
Sure. And I apologize in advance because I'm going to keep pushing back on you keep pushing back on this narrative.
Yeah.
It's a wave. So what you see today and the energy that you see today, and I'm gorgeous today, by the way.
She said, clock the tea.
Clock the tea. But I don't always show up this way. And it doesn't always look like this. And I think that is the message that I want to send. It doesn't go like this. It's not linear. You know, there are waves and you're going to go up and down. And I have my deep, dark moments. And I have moments where, well, not so much now, but in the beginning where I would cry till my face was swollen. I would get up, beat my face, and get on a Zoom call with C-level executives and talk about finance, you know? So, but to your point is how do you have them lean more into living with the grief than leaning on the other side, right? So there is somewhat of a balance, and that's where my playbook comes into play. And just kind of giving those practices on how can and it's what I call the grit. So in the grit is just you having those practices and figuring out what are the things I need to do to kind of help me get to that point. And some of those is just taking an assessment. And I'll give you one little nugget. And one of those nuggets are, I know my capacity. And I know that I can't watch the news every day. I have enough devastation to last me for 20 years, right? So I don't need to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I get the news because I'm on the social media platforms and things like that. But like, I know that to see the doom and despair constantly over and over again does not help to feed me and where I'm trying to go. So that's kind of one of the practical guides that I put in there is know your capacity. Some people can watch the news and be completely fine, right? But for me, I knew that that was my capacity. So knowing what that is and kind of working through that and figuring that out helps too.
I love that. Wow.
So going back, talking about this book, the C3 playbook.
Yes.
So I know you just talk about grit. So let's talk about that second part, which is the grief and then the glow up initially. So in that grief phase, is would you say are the three most important parts? Because what we like to do here when we are interviewing people, we really want to kind of dive into their perspective, right? And you've overcome a lot. So I think the audience would definitely appreciate, what are 3 steps to approach grief, right? Because we don't get that part. We're usually, unfortunately, when we're dealing with grief, we're in a reactive state of mind, meaning someone has been taken from us, or maybe there's some loss and we're just responding to it. There's not really a playbook on how to actually approach and say, this is what you need to do to get through these steps. So what would you say are the first 3?
So let me be clear. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. Okay. And I think it's important to have those.
Awesome.
Okay. You have to build a team. This is 2 decades of therapy prior to, right? So, and 20 self-help books and all the podcasts and whatever have you, right? So there was a lot of groundwork, a lot of foundation to where I am, but that doesn't mean that you can't get there. Grief counseling is important. Therapy is very important. Find your person. You're not going to rock with everybody, and that's okay. But find your person and keep finding your person. You go to the doctor, you don't like the doctor, you're going to find another doctor. You know, so my shout out to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, my life coach. She says that mental health should be a lifestyle. Just like you go to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning, you need to make sure that you're checking in on your mental health. And so when it comes to grief, counseling and therapy is important. And then when it comes to grief, I think it is important to acknowledge where you are. Everybody experiences grief differently, right? Grief exacerbates what's already there, right? So if you are a person that gets angry easily, if you are a person that's very insecure or sensitive, or maybe have some depression, things like that, those things are going to exasperate. So one of the first practical steps is to acknowledge where you are and where you're sitting. Where am I at my core? And be real with yourself. And then you can kind of go from there. But I think sometimes because you have the influence of family and maybe just the things around you, that you're quickly influenced on get over it, or you're not sad enough, or, you know, that you don't know that it's okay for you to tap into where you are. And kind of be in the mud. So that's what the grief part is. It's just kind of sitting in the mud. And what I do also is I have a lot of my little stories in there, because there's a lot of things about grief that people do not share, right? That the things that really happen. And so I'm not going to give you that because you have to get the book. But like there's stories that I put in there to help you to understand. And I've gotten so much feedback. Thank you for saying that out loud. Thank you for telling the truth, you know, because it becomes filled with a lot of shame, the way that people feel when they lose someone. And so that's what I would say when it comes to the grief part.
Gotcha. So one thing that we kind of talked a little bit off camera is, you have a son.
I do.
Yeah. And that's
I don't talk about him much because he banned me from talking about him. But
we won't say his name.
I won't say his name, but I have a man child.
Oh, wow.
He is 6'4" and 180 pounds. Yes. And he is a baseball player. And that's all I'll say about him. But he's wonderful. And he's my only son. And I think that we as a family did a really good job at allowing him to express himself. And so one of the things that I think Brene Brown had offered was, what's a bittersweet of your life? And bittersweet was my husband having cancer. Bitter was my husband having cancer. Sweet was my husband having cancer. So often your listeners out there experience grief because of a tragic car accident or tragic health issue that's happened, like that. I had 2 years. And so I was able to have the anticipatory grief. And we as a family were able, and it wasn't pretty all the time, but we were able to really embrace, think about your family members. And if you had that finite date, if you knew the finite date of your loved one, what would you do? And there's a lot of grief that comes with that and a lot of kind of shifting through it. But we allowed him to express himself. So we had an opportunity as a family to really talk about grief. I remember, and my husband was not down for it. Okay.
No.
He was like, what is all of this? First of all, my husband was a Black Jamaican man from Brooklyn.
Oh.
Okay. So that says a lot. But he loved me and he trusts me. He trusts me implicitly. I was his primary caregiver. And so when it came down to doctor's appointments and medications, he trusted me. And then when it came down to having the conversation about what this really looks like and what's happening, I went into business mode. You know, what do you do in business when you're launching a product or something new comes up? You learn everything about it. Like, you research way, way back and you learn everything about it. And so that's what I did. And doing that helped my son to kind of understand more of the grieving process and what was happening. Now, I say that to say that does not change that when it got down to the get down,
The emotions.
it was hard.
Yeah.
It was devastating. I can't even say any much more if you still want me to do this interview.
Yeah.
But like it was really, really tough. But working through the anticipatory grief, having the support of counselors and therapy, I had bereavement counselors, really, really kind of helped us to push us to make it as beautiful as possible, believe it or not. Yeah.
I love that.
So I'll say this. I know when he mentioned you, right? In my head, I was like, what do you mean grieve? Like, bro. But looking into what you do and listening to you, even now, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of you're someone that everyone needs.
Oh.
Because no one, like, I only talk vaguely about what I went through, right? I just kept moving, but moving, I still held. So you're something that everyone needs.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you for
everyone
saying
needs
that.
it. Even with the book, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, sitting here now, it makes sense.
Yeah.
All the research I did, now it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are someone that's
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that. And actually, we talked about, like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
You know, so when I became a widow, I started, obviously, you know, the social media started coming at me with widow stuff. And there was no one out there that looked like me, that was wanting to embrace the sadness and the love that she lost, but also wanted to live and thrive. And it isn't something that I said, oh, I'm going to be the grief disruptor. No, it was something, what I always say, I had grief way before my husband passed away. So I had childhood traumas, parent neglect. So grief was not unknown to me, right? But what I noticed, and as I think back and kind of put all this together, there's another book coming out. I won't say the name. Well, I will say the name. It was all a setup, right? From God, right? So when I think about it, and I think about all the things that I've been through and why did I keep going? And I kept going because I said, well, what now? And so the name of my company is MHDS Media, but it comes from my husband died so. I'm fighting with my brand manager and I'm fighting with my life coach and I'm fighting with different people about the name because they're like, oh, that name, I don't know if it's scalable. And I was like, I want it in your face. I don't want to hide from it. No matter what I do, no matter where this company goes, no matter how big or how broad it tends to get, it always comes back to that trauma and what I went through and what I built it from. I built it because my husband died. So now what? So where are we? So I did it because there wasn't anyone out there that looked like me. So I created her.
you did your thing.
Thank you.
Because I saw that too, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of just direct. My
Yeah.
husband died, so I was like,
Yeah.
It got you, right?
It
Like
did.
it, yeah.
I was like, okay,
Yeah.
she a thug.
Yeah. Okay. I never heard that one,
She
but
a
I'll
thug.
take it.
Real quick, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, because we have more for you.
Yep. So I will say this now. So we kind of talked a little bit about that grief part. Now let's talk about the exciting part, the glow up, right?
yes.
The part that doesn't get enough attention.
Yes.
So like we mentioned when we started this episode, when I met you, your energy was through the roof. You know,
Yeah.
if I never went on social media, we didn't do our research and things of that nature, I'd be like, oh, she's awesome. She's just a nice personality, charisma through the roof. How did you get to this place and who are you now?
I don't know. Can you say more? Wait, come on.
Oh
Just
my
give me some-
goodness. Let me tell you, she eats Chick-fil-A
Yes.
at the stoplight.
Oh, do not
She
mention
eats
that one.
Chick-fil-A at the
Listen,
stoplight.
He went all the way
I'm just
back in my
saying.
social media. How do you delete
she-
from this point
She
down?
she at the stoplight. She's eating Chick-fil-A,
You're more than welcome to endorse it too, by the way.
Yes.
She's gonna give that to
Oh,
you.
that's right. That's right. Listen.
and
who-
she has swag out of this world.
Oh, listen. Who gets Chick-fil-A? Okay, goes through the drive-thru, wraps up the bag, and says, "Oh, when I go home, I'm gonna put it on a plate, and I'm gonna no." Like I'm eating them waffle fries in the car. Like
You know what happens? So I'll say this: we intentionally want to make it home, but we're like, I'll just get one fry. You tell me I'm lying. I'll just get one fry. And that fry tastes so good.
True.
You're like, okay, one more.
One more. By the time you look like, where my fries go?
The lemonade gone and every.
You get the lemon. Tell me the lemonade is not the. I get it with light ice.
I do too.
They be cheesing you.
Trying to fill it all
I know. It's serious out here in these Chick-fil-A streets.
Oh my God. But
so yes, the glow up.
Yes, the glow up. Let's talk about that part.
Yes. So the glow up phase. Yes. So the energy, obviously, the energy was always. I mean, I was in sales, right? So like, the energy is who I am at my core. And yeah, I, similar to dating, when my husband, when we knew it was like really, we always knew it was terminal from beginning, by the way. He was stage 4, tumor in his colon, metastasized to the liver. We were just buying time for 2 years. But I worried, oh my God, because no other man had ever touched me for 16 years, like literally. And so at the thought of someone touching me, like would make me nauseous, literally. And so I was like, oh my God, can I even date again? Like who, will I be the Donielle? Because I was going through so much trauma. I didn't know if I would come back to myself. And very quickly, that's why I took the 1-year sabbatical, because I was like, okay, I need a year to kind of take a breath. Now I understand that's coming from a privileged point of view. I did really well from a financial standpoint in making plans so that I could take that 1 year, only 1 year, which I know that's a blessing, but only 1 year. But that was important for me to be able to figure out, okay, how can I come back to myself? But you never come back to yourself because she's gone. I was defined as being a wife. I was defined as being a mom. I was defined as to have a 2-parent household as a Black family. So I was defined by that. And so when he was gone, it's like, okay, who am I now? And so in my playbook, yes, I go from grief, we go through the grit, and then I get to the glow up is like the reward to getting back to who I am now. So it's been a journey. And so now all of this energy that you get is the reward of me being so excited that I am who I am now, and I'm still recreating her over and over again. But let me tell you something. In the beginning, I was a new version of myself every week or every month because I was figuring it out. And I'll tell you, watch their faces when I say this. I didn't know if I was going to be a nun or a hoe in these streets. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be. They said, zoom in on the face when I said
what?
And this is why she's here.
So, speaking of that.
Because technically, it's till death do you part. My contract is fulfilled, right? And so my contract was fulfilled. So I was like, this is what happened. This is what happens. I want you to know. This is what happens with widows.
I didn't mean to laugh.
No, it is funny because this is what happens in widows or hoe in these streets. Because what happens with widows is that your brain is like, oh my God, he's gone. But your body parts don't get the message. And my lady body parts was still working. So even though I said to you, I thought that I was going to be, that didn't happen, by the way. I was perfectly fine. So, thank you, Lord.
And you still work under the hood.
Yeah. It's still working. Exactly. How do you segue from that, sir? I would love to hear what you're going to say next.
So, speaking of that, since I do this so well, speaking of that, you went on trips to date as a widow. Am I saying that right?
Traveling while widowed.
And
there's dating while widowed, then traveling while widowed. Dating
while widow.
Yes.
How did that?
How did dating while widowed go? Woo! I don't know how much time do we have. Oh my gosh! So here's what I talk about in my framework. The dating part is in all 3 frameworks because in my grief, like I said, there's this thing called widow's fire. Widow's fire is a real biological thing, and what I just described to you, it's funny, but it's true. So after my husband passed, my body went on fire. My body was like, what's up? Where's he at? My body did not get the message. And so during the grief time, it wasn't, and I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about comfort, held, companionship. And so during the grief, I talk about it's okay. Wherever you are, wherever you're feeling, whatever you need, as long as you do it responsibly, whatever you need in that grief, do it. because we're in survival mode at this point. And I think we don't talk about that enough with grief, is that there's a survival part of it. And so while we're out there casting judgment, because we're at the funeral and you see them at the club the next weekend, they're processing their grief. Because if they sit still and try to capture the weight of the trauma at home, drinking tea, they might not be able to come out of it. So I got to go out. I got to know that I'm still alive, that I'm still here. And so that's the dating and the grief part. The dating and the grit part is fun, because that's when I was like, okay, wait a minute. I don't want anyone to ever know that I did what I did in the grief part. Sir, I need you to forget my number and my name and act like you never saw me, okay? I call that the bottom feeders era.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm not proud of it, but your girl, yes, it was a stage. It was a stage. So in the grit was then now, okay, now I'm intentionally dating. And so now, but like, this is 20 years later. Dating ain't the same as it was 20 years ago.
It's changed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I tried the dating apps and I was like, oh no, this is definitely not for me.
Yeah.
And so the grit stage is just having enough courage and bravery and strength to say, I'm just going to get out here. I'm just going to keep trying, and I'm going to go on this date, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try that. That's what the grit is. And it's not fun. You have to be courageous, because dating can be very insecure, vulnerable, can be very vulnerable, right? Because you don't know if the person likes you, you don't know what to do. And so that's dating in the grit.
Right.
And then dating in the glow up is, I know what my standards are.
Right.
For me, I know I have high standards. So I'm not even giving you the time of day if you can't even come to the table with at least what I offer. And I'm talking emotional intelligence, and not all those play words that you see on Instagram, right? I'm talking about self-awareness, accountability, and things like that. And so in the glow up phase, I know what I'm looking for. And so I have a different standing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the grit is just kind of figuring it out, doing a little bit better with, what do you call it, in casting them, the dating and casting them away instead of, you know what I mean? Like learning how to do that a little bit better.
So go ahead. I don't need you.
Yeah, exactly. And letting that go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, now that I feel like we've took a dive into your world and your experience. I mean, 20 years. I mean, so you have a lot of knowledge, and I love having this conversation. If you could leave 3 things for some, and then I also wanted to mention, we didn't cover it a lot here, but being an entrepreneur and being a mom and having to deal with grief, that's like a trifecta right there, right? That's a lot of components.
It's actually a quadruple.
What would be the fourth one?
Trifecta. It's like 6 things. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's I'm the mom, I'm the chef, I'm the doctor, I'm the house manager, I'm the entrepreneur. I'm accounting, I'm everything.
So how does life look for you now? Like, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to in this next chapter?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited because I'm getting to do what I love to do most is talk. No, not just talk. But what I love to do most is say something of importance that can be inspiring to someone. I did that for other people and other companies, business sales. I sold a product and a service that would be beneficial to that client, right? And now I get to sell something and offer and deliver something that I'm passionate about and that I have lived experience for.
Yes.
So I'm not clinical, I'm not a doctor, but I live this right here. So I can speak on it.
Yes.
So I'm most excited about launching my playbook, which launches on October 18th.
Yes.
Which is actually his death anniversary. So it'll be 3 years on October 18th, which I think we're going to film.
Yes.
This will come out after that.
Yes.
But October 18th was also our 16-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, our anniversary of our first kiss to his last breath.
Wow.
So it wasn't our wedding anniversary, but it was the first date that we had when we fell in love. So I thought that was an important date to change the feeling of the date of my becoming. Rather than focusing on the death. And that's in my playbook too. It's like kind of changing the narrative of whatever it is for you. So that's what I'm most excited about. And what I most want to leave with your listeners is there's two things that come to mind. One is grace.
Yeah.
Grace is so important because you have never been here before. Whatever that is, you have never been here before. I've never had a 16-year-old. I've never been a woman of a particular age with a 16-year-old.
You're so funny.
I actually thought you were coughing. I was thinking about
so smooth with it.
It's so nice.
I was like, uh-oh.
Something happened to my throat when I went to say how old I was. But I'm proud of my age. I'll be 48 in December. And so I've never been this age, 47 years old, raising a 16-year-old, 6'4", 180-pound athlete.
Yes.
I've never been 47 years old, raising a 16-year-old, a grieving child, right? Who's grieving his dad, who in my playbook, I talk about being the dad director. And I know we didn't talk a lot about this, but I don't believe whether it's divorce or breakup, I don't believe in women being able to be the dads. It is completely and utterly impossible, okay, to be the dad. I am the dad director. And as I direct, I go to my friends who have their Black husbands to come and influence my son. So I put in work and I try to direct that so that he can still have that kind of presence, that male energy that I can never deliver to him. So I would say have grace with yourself because you've never been here before. And I know people throw around the word grace, like, but it is important for you to understand that you've never been here and you're trying your best. And then the other thing is not so nice. Stop lying to yourself. There's this narrative going around social media about, I don't care what people think. And I never liked that because you do. Because if you walk down the street and someone called you a name, it's going to bother you. You're going to consider the source and say, man, that man must be smoking or got a mental issues or something. But it will impact you in some kind of way. You're just human, right? I know for me, I care deeply. I care how I show up. I care what I put out in the world. And so I think I want us to lean more into saying, I do give a crap. You care about how we show up in this podcast. You care about your listeners. And so that's one of the things I want to really express or leave with them is to be kind to yourself, have grace, and really get to who you are at your core without anything else, around you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Would you say, I know we're wrapping up, but I love what you were saying. At the last one, don't lie to yourself. Yeah, right. Would you say it's more so of not what they say, but how you respond to it internally?
The other person?
Yeah, so you can't change what they say.
Right.
But how you respond to it. Because, it affects you, but it's more so about that.
Yeah, so how you do that is you consider the source. Right? So what that stranger man called me or said about, I'm like, he don't know me. So it's data, it's information that comes in and flows out very quickly. Now, if I always say, if my girl, Dr. Bryant or Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey comes to me and they give me some kind of advice or whatever, I might take heed to that, right?
Why is that?
Because of the source of where they're coming from. So if they want to give me advice of something that I'm doing that they've done, they've excelled at, I might take that in. I'm not saying it's the gospel and it is what it is. I'm just saying that I would take more weight on what they're saying versus a stranger on the street to whom I know nothing about. So when you're trying to kind of walk through life and you're trying to have this discernment on who you're going to let have space in your energy, you have to consider the source. Same thing with family.
Yeah.
There's family members that don't deserve the right to have space in your energy. And then there's family members that's like, yo, I rock with Malcolm because I see what he's doing. I see what he's about. And I like the message that he delivers. I want to hear what you have to say. I still have a right to decide if I jive with that. But at the end of the day, you're more resourceful than this one over here, in my opinion.
Okay.
And always in my opinion.
So for the last piece, where can our audience find you? You know, if there are some widows that are some of our audience and they want to get in contact with you, maybe schedule a session or just sit down and talk to you, where can they find you at?
Sure. So my playbook is going to be on the Stand store.
Yep.
So it's stand.store / MHDS Media. I'm on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube at My Husband Died So. Probably by now I'll be on Facebook as well.
Yeah, it'll be on, all her links will be here in the description and in the video.
Yeah, and then, and I also have a website. So I'm not doing one-on-one coaching sessions or anything like that yet, but I am doing free webinars.
Yes.
And I'm doing free webinars for 20 of your followers or listeners that follow me and DM me and purchase my book. I will give them an exclusive link to my free webinar that's happening at the end of November, beginning of December.
Okay.
So right after Thanksgiving is when we'll have the free webinar. You can ask me any question you want. There's no question off the table. And it'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Awesome. So do us a favor. You just heard what this young lady said. So when you do respond to her page, put KH Pod so she can identify who you guys are and help you out with that link.
Absolutely.
Final thoughts?
I love it. So my final thought is, like I said before, you're walking in your calling, like your energy. So I do sales as well. The thing I hated about sales for other people is I had to learn their product and become it. But you're who you are. So like you're different. You're different. But my final thoughts is, like she said, listen, 10% of the things that people say don't matter. 90% is based off the reaction, how you move. So whatever you respond to is what the energy you give. So that's why I sat here and listened to her, because she's doctor now. She's a doctor now. She's doctor now.
Doctor, y'all. Oh, I love it. Yes.
All right. That's a pod. Until next time, guys.